Hey music theory community, today we're going to have a discussion on what a major scale is and what its history is. So a major scale has 7 individual tones, and if we look at it, say we start in treble clef, here is, start in C, here's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Here's note 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we see that the 8th note is a repetition of the first note. Now in order to understand what a major scale is, we need to analyze the collection of whole and half steps from note to note. So from the note C to D, whole or half, whole step. From the note D to E, whole or half, whole step. From the note E to F, whole or half, half step. We know that the naturally occurring half steps in a scale are from E to F and from B to C. Let's keep going. From F to G, whole or half, whole. From G to A, whole or half, whole. From A to B, whole or half, whole. And finally from B to C, half. So we can see that a major scale has a half step between notes 3 and 4 and a half step between notes 7 and 8. So one more time to review. A major scale is a scale that has 7 individual tones. The 8th tone is a repetition of the first tone, and it has half steps between notes 3 and 4 and a half step between notes 7 and 8. Everything else is a whole step. Here it is in playing. Whole step, whole step, half step, whole, 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 half step. Without pausing. Okay. Now, the history of a major scale comes from the ancient Greeks. The ancient Greeks had a 4-note passage, which they referred to as a tetrachord. So they would play a figure using this melodic passage. And improvise in this tetrachord. Tetra meaning 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now the tetrachord, they had a formula of having whole, whole, and then from E to F, half step. They eventually expanded the tetrachord and linked up another tetrachord to this tetrachord by one whole step. G, A, B, C. And here's another tetrachord. Whole, whole, half. And here it is linked by a whole step. So we can see that the ancient Greeks had linked up 2 tetrachords, which had whole, whole, half patterns, by one whole step. And they referred to this as the Ionian Mode. And in today's modern time, we refer to it as a major scale. But the Ionian Mode has our same formula as a major scale. So that's the history of our current major scale. Why don't we take it a step further and transpose it out of C? Let's go to A. From an A to a B, whole step. Our next note has to have another whole step. B to C. Careful. B to C sharp is our next whole step. We need to maintain the formula of whole, whole, half. C sharp to D, half step. We're up to note 5. D to E, whole step. Next, E to F. Is that a whole or a half step? It's a half step. So from note 5 to 6 needs to be a whole step. We need to use an accidental there, E to F sharp. We're on note 6 right now. We're moving into note 7. We need a whole or a half step? Whole step. We learned that half steps in a major scale happen between notes 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. So from an F sharp to what is a whole step? F sharp to G? No. F sharp to G sharp is a whole step. And finally, from G sharp to A is our half step. And here, in playing, A, B, C sharp, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And here's our major scale transposed into A. Now, if you choose different starting notes, the formula needs to be the same. Here is starting on G, A flat, B, C, C sharp. That's a tough one. It's got all 7 sharps. D major, E flat major. And what I'm doing here is I'm changing my starting note and I'm making sure to keep the collection of whole and half steps the same. Remember, a major scale has a half step between notes 3 and 4 and 7 and 8. And its history, once again, is our ancient Greek tetrachord, our 4-note pattern that has a whole step between note 1 and 2, a whole step between note 2 and 3, and a half step. Then they linked up another tetrachord by 1 whole step and formed the Ionian Mode. I hope this was helpful to you. More videos to follow.